Good morning, crocheters. So today I want to take you a little bit behind the scenes and show you my work space and kind of how I do things, maybe talk you through how I make patterns and crochet alongs and things like that. So partly I want to show you this today because I've been working on it today. So that's really all I've got to show so far. So you guys know, if you've been watching my videos, see if you can see that I have that great big white piece of paper. And I used to have that in my my office. I've recently converted one of the other rooms in our house into the house we're renting. Let's clarify that. Into more of a workspace. Yeah. So I've got this set up. So I moved my tall table in here, and I've got, let's see, this is a little difficult to show. So I've got the paper coming down, so I've got this nice smooth background. So the reason why I did this was because, you know, before I had the paper in my other office, and it was on the ground, which got really dirty. So I actually cut off the piece that was on the ground earlier today and just rolled out some clean paper, and so that's what I'll be using, like for taking a lot of pictures and videos probably. But this is my new setup, and you know, I've also got the lights back here, and I use those primarily at evening time when I don't have any natural light. So yeah, that's kind of my new setup. One thing I think is funny that maybe people don't necessarily think about is like in the pictures for my patterns, how I get both of my hands in the picture and I'm still able to take the picture. So when I first got started, what I was doing was I just had a point and shoot, and I would set it to like 3-second timer, and it took so long, you know, because you'd set it to 3-second timer, then like pose your hands the way you wanted them to, and then wait for it to go off, and then sometimes, you know, you'd move and so it was blurry and you'd have to try again, or, you know, like it just didn't do a very good job. So it was interesting. So what I've worked out since then is I got a better phone. I had a really terrible phone back then, and I used my phone for like almost all of my videos and pictures, honestly, like I'd say 95%. I do take like the pictures for like the covers of the patterns. I take those pictures usually with my nicer camera, but like every single picture that's in the pattern, it's just the camera on my phone. So what I do is I have this set up here, which is simply on a stool. So what it is it's a boom arm. I think that's what it's called. So you can finagle it. And then, I mean, this is so jimmy rigged together. This boom arm was my husband's. He was using it for audio. Like he was doing a podcast a while ago, and he's not doing it at the moment, so I've borrowed it. And then I've got a selfie stick phone camera holder thing, and then an adapter that I found on Amazon for a couple of dollars. And so that's the setup that I use, and I put my phone, you know, in here, and then because my phone is a touch screen, I actually use my nose to take the picture. There's that circle, you know, down at the corner, and I get everything set up with my hands, and then I just use my nose. I go dink, and I use my nose to take the picture so that I'm able to, you know, because especially with some of these bigger projects, like there's so much going on, and there's like, you know, they move, and like I need both of my hands to be in the shot so I can take the picture, because it moves so much. And so that's why I use my nose to take the photo, which might be, I mean, it's one of those things like I don't think people really think about, and didn't honestly think about it that much either until my husband, like a couple of days ago, came in while I was working on a pattern, and he's like, "Did you just take that picture with your nose?" I'm like, "Yes, I did." So anyway, fun little tidbit for you. So I want to also walk you over here. Dun, 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 dun. And tell you just a little bit about how I used to take pictures and videos. So I like for a long time I didn't have that great big piece of paper, the seamless backdrop. I just had pieces of foam core. And so what I would do, I wonder if I can do a decent job at showing you what I've got here. So like right here on the ground, I have, just that hedgehog porcupine thing that's in progress. And what I would do is I would set it on a piece of foam core, which you can get these for $1 at the dollar store. And then I would take, and I'd have my light source, which is the window here. And I would take just another piece of foam core and I'd put it like right here, right next to it. And what ends up happening is that the light bounces off this piece of foam core and it fills in the shadows. And so you get a much like smoother and neater look, cleaner look to it. And that's how I took all of my pictures. And that's how I still take most of them. Like I just worked on that setup in the other room. I guess it'd be my craft room. I don't know. Crafting room. And so like that's my new setup, but for a long time my backdrop has been $1 piece of foam core. And the nice thing is they're big enough. They're like 20 inches by 30 inches, I think. They're big enough that you can, fit one of my big projects on them mostly. I'll be honest, like the big elephant does kind of fall off the edges. That one takes a little finagling to really get in there, but like we're not making amigurumi that are this big. We're making ones that are like, a decent size. And all of the crochet alongs I've done so far, which are 3, the backdrop has been a $1 piece of foam core. And if I needed help with the lighting, it was another piece of foam core just propped up on the side so I could get that light bouncing around in there to soften the shadows. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys because I don't know. I know for me getting started, there was a lot of trial and error and a lot of like, oh my gosh, like I don't have money to do all of the things that I want to. Like, how do people get nice, clean photographs? And I didn't know how. And now I do. It's not that hard. You can spend $2 on foam core, or like, if you want, you can spend $3 or $4 and get a couple more pieces and like build a light box and like get some really beautiful light bouncing in there. That's going to be especially for like, your product photography. You can hold them you can tape the pieces together, or you can hold them together with pins. So that's kind of my tip for today. I hope that was helpful and interesting for you guys. So anyway, I am gonna call this quits for today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.